Yo. Eddie Hearn is gangsta on the low, bro. I'm starting to become a fan of Eddie Hearn, bro. He calls it out how he sees it. And here's a situation where Eddie Hearn calls out Bob Arum and Top Rank, letting them know that he's been doing a better job promoting Shakur Stevenson than they have, and he's not even contracted to Shakur Stevenson. Wow.
Hold up.
Before we get to it, though, this is the universal favorite to fight fans from all nations. Thank you for tuning in to VIC SZN Sports, the #1 source for combat news and creation.
Toma, huepa, chacho, pa que sepa, puñeta.
Now that's that said and done, man. Let's get right to the video, and y'all could give y'all input according to what y'all looking at. You already know what's up. Let's get it.
And there's a lot of money to be made. I also get it.
People have been calling the Shakur fight an audition for you. Are you in talks with Shakur Stevenson?
He's coming on Saturday. I mean, I can't. I mean, I've done a much better job than Top Rank in promoting him over the last 12 months. I don't even have a contract with him because I answer questions from you guys, and I say the same thing all the time. I think he's a pound for pound great fighter. I think he's one of the best fighters in the sport. You know, he had a good crowd in Newark. He just drew the biggest audience on ESPN of 2024, and people still like to criticise. He's not Arturo Gatti. He's not going to go in there with his chin in the air and give you a war every time. But when he's in with elite opposition, you're going to see some of the best fights in boxing. For me, I think he should fight William Zepeda. I think that's a really good fight. Like Zepeda is with the zone. He's all action. And you know, that's a fight that I would be talking to him about. But also, you know, do you really want to sign, this is not me, this is a question for him, a 5-fight deal when it may stop you from getting certain fights? Like we're seeing a lot of promoters working together more now, particularly with VIC SZN and his excellency. But, you know, I think Shakur is probably thinking to himself, I have to fight Tank, I have to fight Zepeda, I have to fight Lopez, I have to fight all these guys. And maybe our discussions are a 1 fight or a 2 fight or a 3 fight, I don't know. But I think he needs that fluidity to be able to move and make those fights, because that's when you're going to see the best of him. And every time he's in with a, whatever that bloke's name was, Havosian or whatever his name was, it's just not like, those guys can't beat him. They can't be competitive against him. And like it's almost like he looked bored in there on Saturday. I mean, he was going forward because everybody wants him to go forward, so he was making a few mistakes. Never, like, I mean, won nearly every round. Like, he's that good. He's really, really good. And against a Zepeda, you'll probably see a different type of performance.
If Shakur Stevenson signs with Matchroom Boxing, let's say a 3-fight deal, ideally, what would be the 3 fights that you would get?
Williams.
Before we even move forward, yo, big shout out to this interviewer. That was a great question. Moving on.
Zepeda. Maybe a move to 140 to fight a Liam Paro, you know, or another champion at 140. You know, and then look to other companies to do a co-promotional deal and a co-platform deal. You know, you've seen DAZN, you know, airing Munguia against Canelo Alvarez. You've seen DAZN airing all the VIC SZN events as well. So there's no reason why we can't go to Amazon and Al Heyman and say, do you want to do Shakur against Tank? And by the way, maybe we have something in our contract that says we don't even have to be involved in that fight. Because I don't want Shakur to not get those fights and those opportunities just because of some kind of promotional dispute or ego. But people are working together more now. It really will come down to Tank and PBC if they want the Shakur Stevenson fight, because that is a very, very, very risky fight for Tank. And he has to come through Lomachenko first. But you're seeing promotional companies work with each other, so I don't see that as a problem.
You reported saying that you're not going to pay him what Bob paying. Are you still standing on that?
No, I said that to Bob.
Okay.
You know, Bob said to me something like, about Shakur, I went, I'll tell you what, Bob, I'm not paying him what you pay him. And it was a tongue-in-cheek comment, and I'll have to pay him what Bob paid. I mean, he's not going to come, you know, he knows I'm a better promoter, he knows it's better for his career, but he's not going to take less money. But he needs to buy into the plan, right? Because there's a lot of work to be done on Shakur Stevenson. At the moment, it's Shakur against the world. You know, he's fighting all his battles on his own, on Twitter. He's putting out all the fires, you know, and the reality is that's draining, that's painful, that's difficult, and it's like, it's not a good look and a good plan. So he needs a promotional machine behind him, not just me, but a company, because Top Rank gave up on him a year ago. So, you know, he needs to calm on social media, get me doing the talking for him, get the promotional machine working while he's sleeping, and get in the gym and go and beat these guys.
There's still publicity, so that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
no, listen, he's the most talked about fighter in the world right now, as of today.
Tank, who wins?
See, the thing is with Tank, who I think is a brilliant fighter, right? So exciting, very heavy-handed. He loses a lot of rounds, right? He lost rounds against Frank Martin. He lost rounds against Ryan Garcia. He lost rounds against Pitbull Cruz. And these are all guys that aren't on the same level as Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson. So he has to put a dent in these people, otherwise he'll get beat. But he does put a dent in them because he punches really hard, and Tank's not just a puncher, he's got a good boxing IQ as well. I just don't think he's technically, or the IQ is as good as Lomachenko or as good as Shakur Stevenson. But can he put a dent in them? Because I promise you this, if he don't stop these people, he will be behind at nearly every junction of those fights, Lomachenko included. I think he stops Lomachenko, but he'll be behind. Do you know what I mean? That's what makes him exciting.
Jerron Ennis wants to unify.
So now, here's my thoughts on that, man. When it comes to somebody like Shakur Stevenson, if there's any promoter to go with, in my opinion, it's Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Not only, I don't like how Matchroom does some things, you know what I'm saying? But again, that's their business. They're going to do what they believe is best according to what they have to deal with behind the scenes that I may not be aware of, right? So I do cut some slack just because at the end of the day, this is my opinion, what I believe will work better. But until you're in those actual shoes, you'll know for sure, right? Now, in this situation with Shakur Stevenson, like, we got Eddie Hearn making some great valid points, but on top of that, he makes Shakur Stevenson's bad performance seem like it wasn't bad at all, and it was just a lack of proper promotion. You know what I'm saying? So, in my head, man, I think Eddie Hearn is the guy to go with. If there's anybody that's gonna go do a good job with someone like Shakur Stevenson, I believe it's gonna be Eddie Hearn, mainly because he's vocal about it. Not saying that everybody that's vocal about it is gonna perform to what they say, but off the rip, that's pressure on Eddie Hearn. So if he takes him, he's gonna want. And you know, the first thing he likes to do is do the homecoming fights. Now we already seen the homecoming fight. If there's ever gonna be a homecoming fight again with Shakur Stevenson in a 3-fight deal, it should be his last one, just to give that homecoming a break, because people are gonna remember in this city how he performed. And no matter who the promoter is, some of these guys are not real big fans of just what goes on all around through boxing. They just want to support their boxer, their native boxer. And according to how he performed in his last outing, people not going to want to go see that right away again. So you got to build a little bit of momentum again, right? Shakur Stevenson also needs somebody to take care of his responses. You know what I'm saying? Just like Eddie Hearn said, you don't got to be on Twitter all the time. You should be focusing on training, getting better, doing what you got to do, and not letting all these different negative energies play a role and affect the way you go about your day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? So in my head, I'm just thinking, if there's any direction to go, it seems like Eddie Hearn has something pretty mapped out for his career. As he mentioned, the 3 fights that he would like to see, which was a great question by the interviewer, was 1, Zepeda, 2, Leon Perro, who just defeated Matias for the IBF title, moving up. So that would be a good, that would add good legacy to Shakur Stevenson, right? And then maybe for the 3rd fight, that would be a great homecoming in Newark. That's something that everybody will pop out to see. In my opinion, that would put the nail in the coffin for Shakur Stevenson's career, especially if he wins that fight. So that's what I got, man. You already know what's up. And
Hold up.
This is the universal favorite to fight fans from all nations. Thank you for tuning in for VIC SZN Sports, the #1 source for combat news and creations. Make sure to comment, subscribe, like. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you can be notified for each joint that I drop.
Toma, huepa, chacho, pa' que sepa, puñeta.
I love y'all. You already know what's up. We out, baby. Peace.